Hello and welcome back to this third tutorial for Sustainly, where we're going to take a look at how you can use parameters and scenarios to experiment with how different factors can impact the environmental impact of the product that you're modeling. In this case, where we've modeled a reusable plastic cup, we're going to take a look at how the amount of uses for that cup will impact the environmental footprint of the cup. And in order to do that, we're going to set up a parameter that is called amount of uses. I'm going to navigate to the list view down here, and then I'm going to create a parameter, click on the plus and say uses. This indicates that this is the amount of uses that the cup can be used in a given scenario. And in scenario one, obviously, we just modeled the plain production, washing and landfill of the cup. So that's one use. Now, in order for this parameter to actually play a role, we need to first add that as a dividing factor. And what we need to do is to add it as a dividing factor in all the instances where the product is not specifically being used, because a washing cycle is a washing cycle. But we need to divide, for example, the input material, the waste, and so forth, in order to actually utilize the new parameter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say divided by use. I do that simply by clicking on the input here and updating it. And I'm going to go through all of the inputs except the one in the use stage out here, and update them. Okay, now that that is done, it's time to actually add the scenarios that we'll be using. So if you navigate over to scenarios here, you can see that I currently only have one scenario, and that's scenario one with one use. So in order to add more scenarios, you simply click on the scenario name up here, and we can create one that's called scenario 2, 50 uses. Confirm. Now we've created a new scenario. You can see right here that this scenario is inheriting its numbers directly from the primary scenario. And that means that when we're using a parameter like this with uses, it will use the parameter settings of its own. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But I'm going to create one, scenario 3, 250 uses. Right, so now we have the scenarios. For all intents and purposes right now, they're completely identical. But now I'm going to navigate to parameters, and I'm going to change the input of each of these. So now we have 3 different scenarios, and the way that you can see it is if you go to the results here and navigate to scenarios, you'll now see the different scenarios compared. And what you can see here is that there's a very big difference between having a cup that can be used only once and then a cup that can be used 50 times. The drop off from 50 to 250 actually isn't that big. Another way you can dive into the results is by looking at the general impact report, and we can see here in scenario 3, the vast majority of the impact lies in the use phase. But if we switch over to scenario 1, you can see that the vast majority is actually in the raw materials phase. And that makes a lot of sense. The more you can use a product, the more the environmental burden is moved to the use phase. And for any kind of product, you can do these experiments. Just be sure that you do a single controlled experiment where the variability lies with a single factor. So have fun experimenting.